Hey everybody, Breakthrough Health and Life Coach here. I have the pleasure today of being with a friend that I haven't seen for some time. It's been a little while. Jacqueline Kelly, who is a professional here, not just in the fitness industry, but has been following, as I have, starting off in the fitness industry, following path, following one's truth, and seeing what needs to be worked out with what we're dealing with ourselves, and then being able to take those lessons and provide even greater value and direction to the people that are fortunate to come in contact with us. And I would love for Jacqueline to share a little bit today about how she's showing up in the world today for folks, because it's been a little while since we've last connected. And I know, knowing her, there's a lot of potency in anything she does. And so I think sharing Jacqueline, a little bit about the newest iteration of your work and what's being called forth in you. And then I always like to time trip and go back in time and kind of figure out what type of, youngster were you growing up, and how you saw the world, and how life kind of started to direct you on this unique path. Because in the work that we do here in the world, we're the individual that kind of looks at a box and says, I'm not getting that box, questions that box, and anywhere but that box. And I'd like to have you share a little bit about that with our audience today, and then we'll let everyone know how to get a hold of you, and if the work really speaks to you, they can connect with you. So
great. So I am currently own my own gym in Westminster, and I'm a personal trainer, a strength and conditioning coach, and a mental skills coach. So I work with individuals in one of those categories or all of those categories, depending on what their goals are. Always studying, working on my PhD in sports psychology, with my family. That is slow going, but it's going. And then getting ready to sit for a test. It's for my mental skills certification. So always studying, always reading, always keeping up on the latest. My clients entail athletes. We teach a Parkinson's class here. I have some MS clients. I have golfers. I have people just trying to have less pain, rehabbing an injury. So see quite a variety of people. And then definitely all of those people that are sort of standing in their own way mentally and where they are on their journey, whether it is they're an executive and want to do more and have more and present themselves as more, or if it's an athlete struggling, to putt the ball or get the ball in the basket, whatever it is. So lots of variety.
yeah, high performance is your game, the mental game, that has to happen first, and has to be an integral part of, a lot of people think, I have clients initially start with me and they go, I know this is all physical. I say, well, it's not. It's actually 100% mental. And once that clicks with them, they start doing the real work. And without those pieces, and I think that's why there's all the physical components that get done in the gym, but to be very successful as you've been with clients, you've got to address what's going on between the ears.
For sure. And where have you been, and where are you now, and where are you going?
Yeah. And then finding out, what's going to be the appropriate vehicle for this person, because everyone's different. So there's going to be a different not just storyline inside, but also the tools and apparatus, because you're like a kid in a candy store in the facility that you have there on picking what's going to be appropriate for each individual that they're going to need to accomplish where they want to get to. So it's not wasting time doing busy work, which is very easy to do. You can be doing a lot of things that are not relative to the goals in mind. So taking the time to identify, as I've experienced with my clients, identifying where you're starting from, where you want to get to, and what's going to be the most effective way to get there should be well thought through.
Right. And being able to communicate, right? Really communicate not only what your goals are, But what struggles you're having while you're working on those goals. If we're not communicating, then that's very difficult. If you're not communicating with yourself, if you're not communicating with those in your life. So I find that the more techie we become, the more cell phone oriented that we become, this becomes even a bigger challenge. I've been doing this now for 30 years. I just discovered this year, and I wasn't sure if I was proud of that or if it made me feel really old,
Mm.
but now I've decided that I'm very proud of that. And the technology really hinders the communication. So being able to have that conversation and allowing people to accumulate some skills that they maybe don't already have.
Yes, I would assume someone with your background is helping people. There's a bigger mission in just what they maybe come to you for, and helping them really articulate their vision of where they want to get to and why, and how to get people on board with that vision as well too, the support team to be successful. Because it's a little bit of an illusion that we do everything by ourselves in a locked off environment. We need support, we need accountability, we need guidance, and we need a technology. So there's
Yeah,
great
yeah, I think
things.
right. We need a coach, we need a preacher or a spiritual leader, we need nutrition, right? The nutrition piece is changing all the time, and that information, we need so much help and support depending on where we're going.
Well, let's backtrack a little bit. We can see what goes into helping your audience that you work with, as well as yourself, making informed decisions is really important. And I'm wondering, what type of individual you were back in time as a youngster. I often ask people, I was like, were you the straight A student? Were you the rebel? What kind of how did you relate to authority, growing up? What was the world like, if you could kind of put yourself back in those shoes and revisit Jacqueline as a youngster? What was she like?
I mean, I was not a straight A student. I really struggled in school. It wasn't until I was an adult that I could even read. Um,
Hmm.
so education was pretty difficult for me, but I grew up in a household where I had a brother who got hit by a car and was killed. So the theme at my house was that you appreciate every breath that you take and you work really hard. So I've always been a really hard worker, regardless of whether I was good at something or not. But just to really appreciate life and to have a life of service. And that's then how I've raised my 4 kids, to have a life of service and to appreciate every breath. My kids are really hard workers also, but it's not I tell my kids the easiest way to get from A to B is a straight line, but I don't know anybody who does that.
He does a straight line, right? We're always
um,
trying to get there.
yeah, as long as you're trying to get there, right, then hopefully you will get there. But yeah, so I wasn't necessarily a rebel, but I like to discover and figure out things myself. So probably fell on my face a few too many times, maybe. But it's gotten to me to where I am now. But
Yeah, you were actively involved with sports as well too, it sounds like. So
yeah, played basketball in college.
yeah, and pretty high level, right, with
Yeah,
basketball.
yeah.
She's not very braggadocious, but she was the shit. So, so even though your kids are awesome too, but so you played sports and developed a passion there. Can you tell us a little bit about how your path kind of evolved and how you found yourself in this type of work? Because it's
Yeah, I never had a clue what I wanted to do, and I didn't feel like I was very smart in school, so I had no ambition to go to college. And my senior year, I got called down to the office and offered a basketball scholarship. So I decided to go to college. I started my first year, I studied all Bible classes because I wanted to be a youth pastor. Um, my second year, I was part of Fellowship for Christian Athletes, and our athletic director and the men's basketball coach suggested that I do exercise physiology, like cardiac rehab.
Mhm.
So I did that. And then I did my internship, and the couple of my patients that I had the closest connection with passed away from having heart attacks. So I knew I couldn't do that for a living. And so that same gentleman that was the Fellowship for Christian Athletes leader asked me if I'd ever heard of personal training or strength and conditioning. So then I started to pursue that, and that's all I've ever done.
Yeah, it's amazing how like all of a sudden it's like, this is what I know, this is what I do, but it's very multifaceted, of course. Personal training, people think, okay, oh, you show people how to do exercises. I'm like, yeah, that's maybe where you pass the certification, you start there and trot along, you work with different populations. But you find yourself running into curiosity, like, why does a body do that? What repetitions has this person been throwing at themselves to end up here? So there starts to be a curiosity of not taking things at face value, of actually trying to explore a little deeper than the superficial answers that people give or protective measures they promote of why they're where they're at. Because everybody thinks they eat good, everybody exercises, everyone's doing, I'm doing okay, and sometimes I know it early on in my career, it was like, okay, someone's hiring me, I'm the expert, so follow me. I had to learn, the hard way, that inside everybody is the wisdom for them, and the self-trust needs to be it needs to be reflected back to them, that they have everything they need within themselves. And a coach, rather a trainer that comes in from the mechanical side, a coach can actually come in and say, there's some things off, right? There's some things you're doing that you maybe know better or don't know enough about, and let's explore that together, and let's build a partnership. It's a partnership. It's not I'm paying someone who's all knowing to come in here and fix this, motivate me, and and make me do this stuff I don't want to do, kind of like high paying babysitter, which I'm terrible at. But I'm sure from you, as you've evolved throughout the personal training career, you've kind of bumped into different schools of like, I want to go deep down this avenue. Maybe share a little bit of how your process of what you were experiencing with yourself and your world and your challenges, and then with your clients, has led you to go beneath the superficial, oh, you're a personal trainer, you like help people get in shape.
Well, I think that personally, I think my basketball was always really hindered, or whatever sport I was playing, because I played a lot of sports, because of my nutrition. I didn't know what to do. Therefore, I didn't ever have enough muscle mass. I'm kind of long and lanky and suffered a lot of injuries. And my growing up, there wasn't a lot of people to help me. Not, we were doing crab walks or whatever, and, hurting your shoulder. So there just wasn't a lot of direction. So I was pretty passionate about really helping someone when it comes to rehabbing an injury or gaining the muscle mass that they need to not have a career ending injury.
Yeah.
I think after I had been training for a few years, I don't know, maybe 10 years, almost every female wanted to lose weight and every male wanted to gain weight and add muscle mass. And I wasn't great at that. I can see how you move through space and see your mobility and your functionality and fix that so easily. But again, the nutrition piece, and then just the part mentally, where are you in your head? What's stopping you? What's making you get up in the morning, or where are all those excuses coming from? So going back to school and getting my master's in sports psychology, I became very passionate about. Yep. I certainly didn't go back to school to get my degree in nutrition, but I read and take whatever certifications that I can to help me in that space, not only personally, with a thyroid issue that I've struggled with for years, and energy and muscle mass still. So yeah, when I'm working with someone, we often have a lot of the same issues. So they're easy conversations, right? And it's easy to be compassionate and empathetic, especially the older that I get, the road that I've gone down. But very passionate about being as knowledgeable as I can in all of those areas, the areas of my own personal sufferings or the ones of my clients.
Yeah, I'm assuming that, well, I'm curious actually, would you say there's a great deal as you've matured throughout the years, bringing a greater level of your story and transparency of what it's like to walk, and like, I don't have it all together. I'm in the trenches with you in some ways, that the way I've watched when I've been in your facility, how you interact with your clients. There's a deep level of care and there's a deep level of trust that I see them with you. And I think it's because there's authenticity, like there's just no, maybe that part of early in your career of exploring religious studies, that there's just kind of no BS. You're kind of a no BS person. It's just like there's no fluff. You just get right to it. And when you've shared even with me at vulnerable times, there's just like, this is what's real for me. And I'm like, there's a warrior spirit, that athlete in you that's like really like working through it. If I don't work through this, then my kids or my clients are impacted by my not doing my work. And so we were talking earlier just about how there's always a ton of books nearby. There's always something to be studied and rehearsed. There's something about being effective at the work we do. There's something within ourselves that's innate, that's a relentless pursuit. You could say the personal development junkie, but the
Yes, for sure. That's a good one. Yeah,
but
but I
maybe,
think my ultimate philosophy is right. It's really is about love, peace, and happiness. And there can be no judgment in there, right? So I'm not judging anybody. And in that pursuit of knowledge, I will admit if I'm wrong. And then I'll go and find out what's right for whoever that I'm working with, right? But ultimately, I don't think between COVID and all of the destruction going on and all of that kind of stuff, we have to show each other love first and foremost and always.
yeah. And so in that showing love to the world and others, yeah. So I always think of, for a while people used to say, oh, you need to learn how to love yourself more, and you're like, I do. And then when you really get on that path of self-love and discovery, you kind of find out, okay, in my, my working out, or my getting better sleep, or my studying the things that I'm curious about, or my resolving issues, that's self-love. Self-love is curious with yourself, and a deeper understanding of yourself, an ability to create a greater flow from yourself. And for the longest time in my career, I was like the guy who just like poured over everything into others, and gave everything of myself, and then I'd be like, oh, I'm feeling my battery drain at the end of the day after, 10, 15 clients in a day. I'd be just exhausted. And it's somewhere along the lines that system had to fail out of me for me to look inward and start filling myself up first and overflowing myself. I always kind of tell people, I'm like, I like to be like the chocolate fountain. Like I work out not just for me, I work out for you. I work out so I have a lot to give and to offer. And my choices with my food, my choices with the music, the people I interact with, the content that is that I'm bringing my attention and intention to, determines, my impact and my sharing with others, my energy. So either bringing that higher vibration, or bringing the energy that's really restricted to just myself. So operating on just limited battery. So yeah, I'm curious how you as a running a facility of other professionals there, and an influx of different people and different energies constantly coming in the place, and what are your daily practices to, you have all this wisdom and you have all these tools that you bring to your clients. What is your self mastery practices kind of look like on a daily basis? Like, how do you empower yourself to show up powerfully for others?
I certainly have a morning routine. I'm a big Hal Elrod fan, where the morning savers.
Okay.
So you silence and affirmations and visualizations, exercise, right, reading and scribing are his savers. Um, I, very mindful of all of the same things that you noticed, what I listen to, how I speak, right? Big believer in the four agreements and being impeccable with my word.
Yep.
Um, my nutrition is always a struggle, but always trying to educate myself there. I recently took on my daughter's horse, and I thought that was going to be so much work, but that probably has been the biggest self-love thing that I could ever do, to take the time and the space and energy to be at the barn taking care of her and what that entails. But I've been told, because her heart is so big, that when you're there, that she can actually change your heart. And I really believe that. So animal therapy, right? I have some puppies that I love also, but that's a huge part of my self-care, the horse and the dogs.
Yeah, horses. Yeah, the horse therapy, equine therapy. It's very impactful work to do. If anyone gets an opportunity to do that, I know there are a couple places here in the area, in the Boulder area, to look up. But yeah, I can't. Yeah, you're like, I'm doing this, care for the horse. Like the horse is like throwing it back tenfold.
Oh, yeah. Like when she left for college and her horse got hurt and she couldn't take the horse with her, I was like, there's I own my own facility. I have multiple children. I have lots of responsibilities. How am I going to do this? And it is one of my most joyful times of the day, very peaceful, and has been, I
Hmm.
can sit in a chair and read. I can, I play opera music for her and do my own meditating sometime while I'm there. Yeah, it's been pretty incredible. Great addition to my own self-care. But it's a mindful thing that I do every single day. And not every day do I do the exact same things, but pretty similar, right? But being incredibly mindful and disciplined in my sleep, in my exercise or yoga, my meditation, nutrition.
Yeah, so your practice has evolved over the years. You have a wide array of options now to show up and bringing that right intention and energy. And yeah, it sounds like you probably have a number of clients that come through your doors that they also have to have a unique way for them. And so by sharing what's working for yourself, you're opening up a space and access point for them to get creative and get committed, and knowing that their life's going to work a lot better if they can get a handle on their sleep, a handle on their exercises, not just to give yourself a pat on the back that you did something, but did you maybe challenge yourself a little bit out at the edge of your comfort zone? And with your nutrition, are you doing better than you did yesterday? Are you becoming more informed with your choices? We all still are a little challenged. At times it's Friday, or the week's been stressful, and being more conscious with our choices. And so what is the best part of working with clients? I don't know if it's the best part, but what are some aspects that you really enjoy about your work now, coming from when you first started? It's been 30 years. What do you love most about, I got, maybe sharing a little bit about that right now, working with
I think
clients?
probably how I've evolved in the way of communicating, right? Being able to ask better questions, being able to, in the mental skills world, give them better questionnaires that allow me to get the information that I need from them quicker and easier. In personal training, right, I probably have honed in better on my movement or functional assessments, so I'm better able to see the issues, what muscles are overfiring, what muscles are underfiring, right? The ones that are overfiring, we're foam rolling or massaging and, telling them to calm down. And then the ones that are underfiring, getting those to fire sooner so that they see more success. sooner. So just have created a knowledge base to weed out some of the things that maybe took longer before. So there's success sooner. And that feels pretty good to really help somebody.
Yeah, people coming in the doors that are coming in with compounding issues. Usually, they've been
Yep.
doing a certain pattern, movement pattern, or a limited pattern where certain muscles aren't firing anymore. And before you just add more problems to things, it's kind of looking at the structural integrity first, and looking at the structural integrity between the ears as well too. It's like doing a better assessment of someone allows you, if you can't, I always say, like, if you can't track what you're doing and measure it, you probably shouldn't be doing it. So I think getting that clarity up front and along the way, tracking, okay, here's where, like when you discussed earlier, just like maybe someone's range of motion is very limited and restricted in one area. So there's some muscles that are taut and there's some that are loose, and some are showing up for the job and hyper working, and trying to figure out those things to bring some relief to folks. So I would assume one of the first things is really someone's coming in your door because some things just are getting clear to them that they aren't working. They need support. They need help. They need some guidance. They need accountability. They need a possibility that hasn't been there for some time, that maybe deep down they know it's possible, but they need someone to step in and be like, we can do this. That can believe in that possibility, and that they can stay the course with to get there.
Yeah, for sure. And right, everybody wants to take a pill and have it fixed tomorrow. So I think I'm a better communicator in not only the amount of time, the one foot in front of the other, allowing them to have some skills to be able to understand that, and for them to realize that it's a lot of work to make big changes after these patterns have been repeated over and over. But not only physically, but mentally, we can come up with the skills that you need to stay the course, to get from A to B, right?
Yeah. Well, how would someone get a hold of you? I know you're just outside of Boulder, in between Boulder and Denver. How would someone get a hold of you or find out information about you? These days, everybody likes to stalk everyone from afar for a bit, feel safe enough to go, okay, this is my person. Where would they find you?
So you can Instagram or Facebook, it's Kelly Performance and Wellness. My website is Kelly Performance and Wellness. My email is jac@kellyperformancewellness.com. And then text or call 720-232-4236.
Now, if someone was like on the fence and they're like, oh, this I really connect with her, and this feels wonderful, and maybe I'll just wait for the perfect time to reach out. What would you say to them? What would help them maybe get off the fence and just take that initial step with you?
I think, just coming in and meeting and talking, and there's no charge the first time. It's personal training. So if we personally connect, then I'd ask them to dive in with whatever it is, if it's mental skills or personal training. But they can do a FaceTime or come into the gym, whatever works. But that usually works pretty good for people, see that connection.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank you so much for our time today. And I think, I've taken some notes down today. I'm sure folks have as well. I'm just really appreciative of you and what your mission is in the world. And there's no other mission you could be doing. This is what you're called to do, just like myself and the folks that work in your facility. It's like we're all wired in a similar way of like, this is my thing. This is what I do. And I don't really know how to do anything else but like follow this path of serving. And just appreciate you, and hope everyone got some great value from today. And I'm sure we'll invite you back again to talk some more, because there's a plethora of information from your unique background that would be valuable to our audience. So
Well, I appreciate your time very much.
yeah, thank you, and we'll see you guys soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.